It's that time of year when there are weddings galore and summer parties, which might leave you thinking, what wine to serve? Now, I don't know about you, but I've been to a number of weddings and they're always glorious, wonderful affairs, but you can often be left slightly disappointed by the wine that's been served. Whether it ends up being a lukewarm Prosecco or just a really bland glass of Pinot Grigio, there are so many better options of what to drink. So today I'm going to taste through some good ideas to give you a little bit of inspiration if you're getting married this year, or if indeed you're just planning a really nice party in the warmer, lovelier months. Now, when it comes to sparkling wine at a party or a wedding, the natural inclination is probably just to think about champagne, but obviously that can be prohibitively expensive. So if you want something that's great for a toast, for a welcome drink, or just to enjoy throughout, I'd suggest going for a Cremant instead. Now, Cremants are made in France and they come from one of 8 regions, and they're all generally great quality. They're made in exactly the same method as champagne and come from a variety of different grapes, but generally speaking, they all have a really lovely shared characteristic with champagne, but are sometimes just a little bit easier going, fruitier, and perhaps more appealing to a wider crowd. So today I've picked this beautiful Cremant de Loire, the extra Langlois. So Langlois is a really interesting producer because they're actually owned by the champagne house Bollinger. So what you're getting in the glass here is a lot of great winemaking know-how, but without the Bollinger price tag. It's 100% Chenin blanc, and I'm really looking forward to tasting it. So we're getting that really, it's a little bit lemony, a little bit creamy, smells very inviting, very pretty, really uplifting. Let's have a go. And that is great. If I turned up to a wedding and was handed a glass of that, I would be absolutely delighted. It's really fresh, but it has this sort of lemon creamy note, a little bit sort of toasty as well. So all of those kind of characteristics that suggest something a little bit more decadent, a little bit more refined, if you will, but it doesn't have that hefty price tag. So if you're serving a large number of guests, that is always a winning thing. When it comes to picking a wedding wine, or a party wine for that matter, you might feel like you have to try and please everybody, but if you've got a large gathering of people, that's just simply not going to be possible. So I suggest just following a couple of really simple thoughts. I would always look for a really crowd-pleasing white wine. Don't go for things that are alienating in their style. So what do I mean by that? Well, perhaps going for like really aromatic grape varieties like Riesling or Gewürztraminer, things that are big and perfumed. You might also want to avoid things like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, which some people adore, but others might just find a little bit too much. So instead, go for really approachable, easy, light white grape varieties, such as a Picpoul de Pinet or a Muscadet or an unoaked Chardonnay. Now today I've actually picked a blend of Picpoul and Terret, and I think this is a really great example of what a good wedding or party wine is. It's going to be fresh, it's going to be uplifting, just a little bit energetic and bright, but it's not going to be heavy and cloying. You want to keep that party in a good place. You don't want big heavy wines. So let's have a taste. And I love this. It's a great combination between something a little bit lemony, something a bit peachy, really very appealing. So let's go in. And it is just that. It's a bit lemon. It's a little bit peach. There's a touch of grapefruit there. This isn't an incredibly complicated wine, but what it is a well-made, good quality wine from a region that produces great quality wines. We're in the Languedoc-Roussillon in the south of France. This is made overlooking the oyster beds of the Mediterranean Ocean, and it's got that nice little bit of freshness to it. And another important thing, it doesn't have punchy alcohol. This particular one is just 12%. So I wouldn't be looking for those like big ball-busting wines. You want something with a bit of freshness, a bit of good acidity, and that's really going to keep things flowing along nicely. Now, if you want a wine that has a little bit more concentration and a little bit more depth, you might look to drink a Chardonnay from Burgundy. Now, they often come with a really high price tag. Think of names like Meursault and Puligny-Montrachet. These are not cheap wines, but there is still value to be found in Burgundy, especially if you look for something that just says a Bourgogne Chardonnay. So you could look for something like a Macon Village, which would be from down in the southern end of Burgundy, and there are some great cooperative producers making some very solid wines. We could go with something like this. This is made by the Famille Brocard, a really well-respected Chablis producer, and all of the Chardonnay grapes that they're putting in here come from villages in and around the area of Chablis. So we're in the far north of Burgundy. So what you're getting is something a little bit fresher and a little bit cooler. And I'm excited to try this because I really hope it has the hallmarks of a lovely Chablis, but without the price tag. So let's have a little nose. And it's definitely got a greater richness and concentration in comparison to the Picpoul, which was just light and easy breezy. This has got a bit more depth. There's a little bit of a honeyed note in there. There's lemony notes. There's something a little bit of that kind of, I don't know, like a lemon tart. So you've got something a little bit buttery as well. It smells lovely. And that all comes through. You've got that really lovely concentration of great lemon prime acidity, but a lovely creamier note as well, and it's mouth coating. So whilst it's still a very approachable wine and very enjoyable to a large number of people, it's just got a little bit more elevation about it. So if you're happy to spend just a nudge more money, you really do get quite a lot of wine. Now, when it comes to red wines at a wedding or a party, I think there's one really important thing that you shouldn't do, and that is to go for a big brassy red. Nobody wants to feel like they've got some absolute oak bomb exploding in their mouth when you're at a party. You want something that works well with or without food. You want fruit, you want soft tannins, you want generosity of flavour, but you don't want big punchy alcohol. So one wine that I've recommended today is this Cabernet Franc from Saumur. Now, Cabernet Franc can often be a bit bristly, and I mean it's delicious, but it can have a sort of a greener note to it, especially when it's from the Loire. But this is a really supple, generous, very smooth, lovely example that would work great with and without food. So let's have a little nose. And I've just got buckets of red fruits coming through. Think of ripe strawberries, lovely red cherries. It smells really inviting. I'm going in. And that's all there. It's just super smooth. You've got red fruits, you've got the cherries, you've got the strawberries, a little bit of a nice spicy touch as well, good acidity, nice and mouth-watering, but very smooth tannins, very mellow, just easygoing, very upfront. And I think this would be an incredibly crowd-pleasing wine, and at only 13% alcohol, you're not going to feel like you've done 10 rounds when you have a glass or two either. Another country that I think consistently has some of the best wines, whether they're still whites, reds, fortified wines, is Portugal. You can get such outstanding value for money, as is perfectly demonstrated by this fantastic wine, the Lutra from the region of Tejo. So if you were in Lisbon and you followed the river that flows into the mouth of Lisbon and you went upstream, you would find yourself in the Tejo wine region. It's a beautiful region, and it is somewhere where I think there are some very exciting, super approachable, very drinkable wines of very good quality coming from. So this is a blend of 3 indigenous grape varieties. We've got Touriga Nacional, San Castello, and some Trincadeira in here. And it's been made in a really generous, lovely style, which is perfect for a party. So let's have a little nose. And it has this gorgeous, it's making me think of that lovely plumminess, a little bit blackcurranty, smells great. And it is just that soft, ripe plums, really juicy blackberries and blackcurrants, very smooth tannins, lovely acidity. There's a nice sweet concentration of the fruit as well. And it's just supremely easygoing, and I think would have a really great appeal. Again, at only 13% alcohol, it's packing heaps of flavour, but it isn't feeling overpowering. It'll be great with or without food, and I think it just shows that really benchmark quality that you can get in Portugal as just being such a trusted country for really focusing on high quality, really preserving their indigenous varietal grapes and producing wines that are really crowd friendly as well. What more could you ask for? I hope you've enjoyed tasting these wines with me today. I think all of them just show that there is a really good approach to have to wedding wines. Don't go for super alienating wines. Find things that are crowd pleasing, appealing. Look for soft fruit when it comes to your reds. You don't want big, brassy wines. And on the whites, just go for mellow and easygoing. And when it comes to sparkling, you don't have to always spend that extra for champagne to get really great quality that's going to have a broad appeal. So I think the key things is just thinking about what is going to appeal to the most number of people, but still have some character, still have some charm about it. After all, it's a very special day, whether it's a wedding, a summer family party. So it really is worth having a little route out to find something beyond the usual Pinot Grigio, Malbec, Prosecco, and serve something with a bit of character, because I think it will help the party go just that little bit better. Cheers!